So today I want to talk about quite a bit of a controversial topic, if not quite a serious topic, in at least in my opinion. Now, I'm pretty sure some of you folks have heard the news about this already, but pretty much for those of you who weren't aware and don't know, let me catch you up to speed real quick. So, Microsoft basically made quite a critical mistake, in my opinion, and they basically shut down a couple of studios, and one of those studios is actually the developer of Hi-Fi Rush, and in my opinion, this is just not only a slap in the face to Microsoft. This isn't just a slap in the face to like smaller game studios, but this is just a slap in the face to all of gaming, in my opinion. Especially because you all remember the massive controversy surrounding Sony and Helldivers 2. Sony was met with so much negative backlash with Helldivers 2, and they were forced to backtrack. And unfortunately, here we have, at least in my opinion, I don't want to say a similar situation, but we have a situation that is pretty bad as well. So I still wanted to pretty much talk about it. Now, one of the presidents at Microsoft had a little bit of an interview, and I kind of wanted to react a little bit to it as we go along in this video and show a little bit of what's really been going on and everything. So I want to show you a little bit of clips here and there. I don't want to play the whole thing and everything, but I do want to react to it as we go along. Now, I gotta say, man, like, what we're about to see is just probably some of the most corporate and some of the most annoying BS that I have ever seen Microsoft pull before. Now, don't get me wrong, I have seen companies pull some anti consumer moves before, and I have seen them do some negative PR speak as well, but I haven't seen it on a level this bad before. So, I'm gonna play you all the clip here, and then we'll talk a little bit more after. So go ahead and take a look.
Earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4 game studios. I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive games?
Yeah, it's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that. I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry. And when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition. And the news we announced earlier this week is an outcome of that. And our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term.
If you want your business to be healthy for the long term, then why in the world did you shut down the development studios that made Hi-Fi Rush? And why did you shut down the studios that helped made For Honor? Like Arcane Studios. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, look, I am not a business person at all, but what I do know is the fact that if you make anti consumer moves or if you pull corporate bullshit and shut down studios like this that could benefit you in the long run, that's gonna put a bad dent in your reputation. And last time I checked, Hi Fi Rush actually won a couple of game awards actually. So the developers of Tango Gameworks came out on Twitter and they said not enough, and then they showed a picture of all the awards that they got, and you would think that game studios like Tango Gameworks that basically are award-winning studios for making games like Hi-Fi Rush that are really damn good, you think that as a company like Microsoft, you would want to keep them, right? Because they would be more beneficial for your company and they would help make you more money in the future, right? No, but instead they just, like I said already, they pretty much cut all ties with with this game studio and they basically just shut them down, and It's just the most disrespectful thing that you could have done. And it gets even worse than that, okay? So I do want to play you one more clip here of this interview where the president of over at Microsoft during this interview is basically just going off track and is just not really answering any of the questions, and she's just trying to avoid it. So go ahead and take a look.
And frankly, our commitment to Bethesda and the role that it plays is part of Xbox and everything we do. It's actually been pretty fantastic. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check it out. The Fallout TV show was on Amazon, and it's been great to see people fall in love with that universe, but also what it's done.
Excuse me, but what? What does talking about a TV show have to do with making business decisions, cutting ties with Tango Gameworks Studios, and basically shutting them down? What does talking about a TV show have to do with business decisions for shutting down a game studio? And oh boy, the community responded very appropriately. If you take a look at some of the comments section here, you can see that these people have responded very appropriately, and we all agree, like, what is this person doing? This person is clearly not really talking about the current situation. All she's doing is just talking and talking and talking and just rambling on and on. Now, I'm probably going to be making fun of myself here for a second, but she's doing what I usually do whenever I'm trying to wrap up my videos, where I just ramble on and on and on. And I do tend to ramble on a lot, and I do apologize for it, but I don't think me rambling on and on is this bad, especially if you're trying to represent your company, like, oh hey, I'm the president at Xbox and this is what I do. You think that if you hold the role as like president of Xbox or something like that, that's like a very, very big role to fill, and you think you would have some knowledge on like video games if you have such a high role, right, like that, right? Now obviously I do want to clarify just in case, like, no, she's not the leader of Xbox or anything like that. It's Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is the head honcho himself of Microsoft and everything. This lady over here is just the president over for Xbox and everything. But I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for saying this, but this is just the way I see this entire situation. I think this lady needs to be fired. And I know how we are all going to feel about that. But after seeing this, I don't want to say disaster, but after seeing this embarrassment that this person has caused for Microsoft, I would argue to say that, yeah, this person needs to be fired. If not, then demote her at best and then put someone else in the president role that is actually competent and that actually knows what the hell that they're talking about. All Microsoft has done here was they just shot themselves in the foot and they basically just did self-sabotage. Like, that's literally all they have done. After shutting down a couple of studios, and one of those studios being Tango Gameworks that made Hi-Fi Rush, Microsoft basically just damaged their own reputation. And like I've already said, they just basically shot themselves in the foot here, and they're basically just damaging their own reputation over some corporate decisions that not a lot of people agree with. Modern gaming has gotten so bad. It has now gotten to the point where if you are a successful game studio that has won multiple game awards, if not a good handful of game awards for like companies like Sony or Microsoft, it's now gotten to the point where now companies like Microsoft, like Xbox, are basically just going to shut you down because you're not really meeting their quotas and everything. which, like I've already said earlier, which is the most disrespectful thing that you could do, especially if it's like a smaller studio. Like, come on now. I think that anybody with a brain can put together, like, oh, hey, this game studio has won a couple of game awards. Maybe if we bought this game studio, maybe they can be beneficial for our company in the long run. So let's keep this studio around here because they're making money. They're beloved by many people. They make games we love. And this is something that people enjoy. So let's keep this studio around. We do not want to shut them down. But instead, Microsoft does the exact opposite. And they just shut down the studio. And they did it over a stupid corporate decision that only just gave themselves a bad reputation now at the end of the day. So with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And until next time, I'm talking about Microsoft and Xbox's biggest embarrassment. I mean, seriously, like, why in the world would you shut down a studio that won you game awards? Like, that just makes no sense to me. So, with this being said, thank you all for watching and for listening, and until next time, I will see you all later.